Hi guys, Angela back again. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, hello and welcome. And if you're one of my ongoing supporters, hello to you guys too. And thank you so much for all your lovely comments and wishes. I love reading everything you write to me and all those things that you share with me. So I couldn't do this without you guys. Now I know January's a tough month. It's probably the month we feel the most broke or skint. I know I am. Can't wait for payday. It's a long few weeks. But I'm here today to hopefully lift your spirits by showing you what to do again with some acetate. Now, I'm not going to promise this is going to be the last time I show you things with acetate, but, you know, it is something that can't be recycled and does end up in the landfill if we don't do something and repurpose it. So I'm going to show you, this is my journal, my own journal. The last journal flip through that I've done, and I just wanted to show you what I thought I'd share with you guys today. So if you can see that here, this is a piece of packaging that I've put a journal card inside, and I've covered it, I've stitched around it, and I've glued it down, and I have a journal card that you can slide in and out over here. So I'm going to show you how to do this quickly. And then I've got a couple of other ideas that I thought that you could use. Now, just so that you remember, let's just lie this flat here. The packaging that we talked about using is anything that has a window, anything like this. You could also, if you don't have any of this kind of packaging around, use any kind of packaging and make your own window. Use acetate sheets. Now, acetate sheets are what we buy from the craft shop or Amazon or any of those. They look like this. I got these from Crafter's Companion, I think through Amazon really. And really all it is the sheet itself, if you can see that you buy. This is A4. So anything like that at all. Even cake collars. So if you buy cakes, and you get that same plastic around the edge of the cake in the box, you could clean those off and use those as well. Those are great because they're really sturdy as well. So yeah, so that's what we're going to do today. If you'd like a flip through or to see this actual journal of mine, I'll put the link below because I have done that, and it is in my playlist, so I'll do that. But in the meantime, I'm going to show you how to make that acetate window and journal card. So let me just put this to the side. Right, so the first thing you're going to need, as I said, is some packaging. You can use any size packaging you want. With this one, I'll just use this window here to show you. What you want to do here is, and I'm not going to cut out every little thing, we'll be here forever, is just make sure that the border you have around each side of the cardboard is the same. So that's what you want to do there. I use a craft knife. So for example, if I want to gauge a border of that width, which is about 1 centimeter or just under 1/2 inch, then just make sure you've got 1 centimeter right round. Okay, so I like this ruler because I can see exactly where I need to be, and it's just a case of, oh, it's quite a thick board, cutting off the edges so that you have that amount all the way around. And the same again here. So that's where I was, I think, like that. And then just use your craft knife or your scissors, whatever you have. There we go. Yeah. And just go around like that. And if one of the sides is not exactly how you want it, then you can retrim it. So that's, oh no, it's still stuck on there. Let's pull that off. Just use my scissors to trim off that there. So if I look at that, this side's easier. I can see that I'm quite happy. That's pretty much all right for what I'm going to use this for. Now, suggestion, if you've got a few fingerprints or marks or whatever on here, which I can see I have, just take a dry piece of cloth or wet wipe, a dry one, and then just rub that off, and that will sort that out, and it'll be nice and clear. Yeah, so there we go. So I've just got that on the side. So I'll take this all out of the way. Now what you need to do now is cut out some paper to cover that. So by taking a scrap that I have and your pencil, let's just get that on the edges. Go around the edges like this. Right, and then the way I do it is I move this and I gauge with my ruler, probably easier. Hold that on the bottom, get that lined up. Just put your ruler on the edge there, and then you'll be able to get an idea of the width there. And the same here, just put it to the side, doesn't matter where. As long as you've lined up with the edge of the paper. Yep. Hold that steady. Turn your ruler around. I'm looking for the edge that slants down. It'll fit nicely into that space. And now I know that I've got to match up those two marks like that. Okay, so I know it's about that far down. So I'm matching it up with that line, and you're going to go around and do that all the way around. Yeah. Okay, match that up there. And of course, that's where you'll be going. And then again, lastly here, just match it up to your pencil line of the edge of the thingy. I'll stop saying thingy. I'm saying thingy because I'm at that part of my life where I don't remember the words anymore, which is not good, and that's can be frustrating. It's due to the menopause. Ladies, do you remember the menopause, or have you reached the menopause yet? Wow, that does become a life changer, doesn't it? Can't remember words, you know, very forget, lots of lists, hence the planner. I hope you enjoyed the planner flip through that I did. It's been a help because I need lists for everything. Right, then it's just a case of using a craft knife or a pair of scissors, whichever is easier. Craft knife is easier for me because I can then use this piece of paper in the middle and without ruining it. So that's why I like the craft knife. But of course you can use whatever you have. So the point I'm trying to make here is don't go out and spend lots of money on new tools all the time. You know, there are other ways. When I started out here, I thought I had to have all the tools, but actually you don't. You can make do. So that's something to remember. Right, let's just put that piece of paper to the side. Now what we have here is a frame that should fit this frame pretty closely. All right, there we go. And we have the inside here, which could be used for something else. So that's a great use as well. So we just put that to the side. And now what we need to do is, let me show you, is stick this onto your page. Now when this is done, just give you an example. Oops, I had it perfectly earlier. It's probably this way, that's why. Yes. Okay, so what we need to do is this is how it's going to look on your page. Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to first of all glue that down. So let's just put the page to the side. Now I've made a slightly narrower one. We want to just glue this down on there. So that's what we're going to do. And that will end up being our frame. Now what I suggest is take your frame and put the glue as close to the edge as possible. You can stitch around the edges if you want, like I did in my journal, but you don't have to. You know, these are just decorative choices that you make for yourself. If you don't have a machine, you don't need to do that. And I'm not going to stitch this one today. Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. It just depends how I feel. So just make sure the glue is going close to each edge so that we're going to get it's going to stick nicely. See, I'm already forgetting my words. Right, and then just match that up carefully with each side. All right, put the lid on the glue, Angela. And then turn that over and just run your bone folder over that just to make sure it's going to stick nicely. We'll wipe this surface nicely when we are finished prattling about here and ready to stick it down. Okay, so there we have our nice frame. As I said, if you wanted to, you could stitch around there just for decorative purposes. That's up to you. Do that before you stick it down. You can do it once it's stuck down, but then that's going to show through on the other side of your page. And of course, depending what's on the other side of the page, well, you know, you can do whatever you choose. You could add any bits of lace on here, clusters on here. For example, you could take just something that's lying about here, not my best cluster, but you could just stick something like that on there, you know. Or you could put a butterfly on there. Those are a bit big. You could put a butterfly on there. Whatever you want to do. So those are some suggestions. Now, what you need to do is size up a journal card for that. So I'm going to put this paper underneath just so that you can see clearly. And hopefully it's not reflecting in the camera too much. Right, now my suggestion is when you're making a journal card, make it slightly wider, just like an 1/8 or 1/4 of an inch wider than the frame on these three sides, and then it doesn't matter how wide it is there. And I say that because if you glue this down, the glue will spread out a bit, and if the journal card's too big, it won't go past the glue. So I go about 1/4 of an inch or 1/2 centimeter around each side, and then I glue it down. So here I would glue it like this for this side so that I could put my journal card in here, because this side is where you're going to stitch your signature in. If the page was that way and opening like that, then I would do it closer to this side like that. Okay, so let's just have a look. Now, I'm not going to bore you, other than to say I have sized up my journal card. So I've just used a postcard that I have. I've sized it up as I've shown you, and you know that it's the right size because it's going to cover all of the window. Yeah, so it's going to be like that. All right, now I've put a tab punch on here. If you've got a tab punch, fabulous. If you don't, then what you can do, let's just take that piece of paper, is get a piece of paper that you want to use as a tab, fold over the width of the tab that you want, yeah, like that. Cut that off. So let's just quickly do that. All right, so that's the, and we want it slightly smaller, so we want it like that. This is what you can do if you don't have a punch. Then just take your corner punch, sorry that was a bit zoomy in your face, and round off the corners like that, yeah, and now you have a nice tab, and that can be easily sewn onto your journal card. I zigzag over mine, so if you have a look, And that's like almost the same thing. Nothing wrong with that at all. Or the other thing I do is I've got a different shape, which is this shape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I think that is a hexagon. I had to think about that. And I teach maths. And then what you do is you cut out a hexagonal shape. And then you just fold that in half like that. And stitch down the side there, zigzag. And there you have a different form of a tab. So that's another suggestion for you. Okay, you don't have to have a tab punch. Right, so we've made our journal card, so I'm happy with that. You've got your frame. You can, of course, distress it like that. Yeah, you can do that, and I will at a later point. And this is the part where you want to stick it down. So at this point, if you've got any smears or fingerprints or anything like that, put it on your paper and take a dry wet wipe and just give that a good wipe, just so that we're not going to have a dirty window when we stick this down. All right, so let's see, that should be a lot cleaner now. Yeah, I've got something stuck on there. What is that? If you have got something, I think this is glue. If you give it a good wipe with a damp one, and then you go over that with a dry one, the glue pretty much does lift. All right, you don't want to do what I've just done and shove my nail in it and then scratch it. Okay, so there we go. We've got our window, and that's going to go down like that. At this point, I would suggest that I'm not going to glue it because I don't want to glue it in there. When you're going to glue, run the glue as close to the top edge as possible, right to the edges there. Remember, if you're going to do it over here, your card's not going to fit into the frame that you've made. So you want to glue as close a bead to the edge as possible. Don't do it too far down. The further down you do, the more your card's gonna struggle to get in and out of your frame. So that's what I would suggest there. And once you've got the glue, remember, not on the side where the journal card. So put your hand here when you're gluing, and you know it's on those 3 sides. All right, that's a good tip to know. And then you know where you want to put that down. This is the opening side, so I have it closer rather than further away. And then you would stick that down like that. Okay, simple as that. Now, I'm going to hold this because it's not glued. Your journal card would then be able to fit nicely inside your frame. And you would be left with something like that. Now, once it's at this point, this is when I would decide, right, I fancy let's see, a butterfly there. I fancy a little cluster over there, and you can add bits of decoration. You could put a piece of lace over here somewhere. You don't have to do any of these things I've shown you. That's not the nicest cluster, maybe a bit big. All right, you could stick 3 buttons on there. So you could take something like this and just decide, okay, I've got 3 buttons here. Space those nicely. You could even stitch through them and have something like that. It all adds extra dimension to it, and I think that's really pretty. All right, so those are some ideas that you could use just for that. So that's with the acetate windows. Right, let's put that aside. Move that out the way. Right, then the next thing I want to show you is using the same window frame type thing. And I'm not going to show you how I cut it all out, is I wanted to make a tag with this. So I'm going to put the paper underneath. And what I did was cut out the same, gauge the edges to be the same, and then at the top given it the tag sort of shape. So that's what I've done there. And then it's a case of cutting out a piece of paper and doing that. So let's glue that quickly, and I'll show you very quickly here. Just watching the time. Go close to the edge. Doesn't matter here because you want this to stick well. So let's just go around like this. Probably easier, ladies, if we do it on here. This is more sturdy. So let's just put this glue on. Obviously whatever glue you like. In this case it doesn't matter because I'm not worried about how it dries. You're not going to see it. When we do the next bit, we want a clear glue, clear drying glue. That is. Alright, so don't put loads on. You don't want it oozing all out. Just going to put a little bead across the middle there. I have done it on the side. Right, so it's a case of matching these up again. Okay, let's take that over. Okay. All right, and again, I've got a little bit of a finger mess going on here. All right, so we've got that scenario. Now you can do one of two things. You can either stick paper on the back here, or you could have a clear view of this completely. So you could either cut out another piece of acetate using another frame, piece of packaging, or for the purposes of today, I'm going to just cut out, you could cut out another piece and stick this on the back. So you could sandwich what I'm going to show you in between the two. So that's another idea. Or you could cut out two like this, papers, and sandwich it in between two of these cards like this. So for example, if this one had a tab on the top, you could sandwich these two together like that, trim off the edge, and you've got going to have a design in the middle. It's up to you. But for what I'm going to do today, I am not going to sandwich it. I'm just going to show you a design. So what I thought was I would arrange a little design here on the top surface of this. So I'm not going to sandwich it. Just going to take a few things here, a few colors, my favorites, and line that up like that. Put in this one in the front, and I've got a little oney like this and make a little arrangement like that. So let's glue that down very quickly. Now I start at the bottom, take that bit out, start at the bottom with these things, and you don't want to make it thick with glue because otherwise it's going to be globby on your acetate, but just make sure everything does have some glue on. This is why it's probably a good idea to sandwich it on the other side, but of course the choice is your own. If you're good at gluing, and even if you've got that glitter glue with a very fine nozzle, that's probably a good idea, but I'm not sure if it actually, because I've never owned some, I don't know how it dries and if you see it coming through or not. I suppose it wouldn't really matter. Okay, so I've pretty much got all my bits glued here, so I'm going to turn that over and put that to this side. Now it's not forgiving in that once you put it down, you don't want to be smearing glue everywhere. So that's the one. The next one I'm going to do is this. So I'm working it backwards in layers. Again, if you need your glasses, this is the time to wear them, because I tell you, I wouldn't be able to see what I'm doing. That's another thing that's gone since I've had the menopause, is my sight in the last years has diminished immensely. How do you guys feel about that? Yeah? Right, so here's the next flower, and I'm going to arrange that one just slightly to this side, like that. Pat it down. Any area you get glue on, just wipe before it dries. Yeah, and any area you haven't glued properly, lift those bits up and just make sure that you do stick them down properly. Right, oops. Okay, that one got a bit globby, so we're just going to wipe it. Now, there's no inkjet printing on here, so it's not going to smear any ink or anything. So that's fine. Okay, and there's a last little section there, like that. Okay, so it's looking pretty so far. Right, so now I'm going to stick this last little dandelion business. I think it's a dandelion. Is it a dandelion? Those ones you blow and the little fluffy bits fly away. Can't think what they're called now. See, my mind's gone. Right, so I'm going to put that over there like that. Beautiful wild flowers. And then this was a separate little die I had for something I got in China. So don't ask me where I got this, but I just found it in my box of tricks there, and I thought, some little foliage. But you do get foliage bits in the Tim Holtz dies. Right, so I thought that would just look nice at the bottom like that and bring some brighter and darker colors through. So what do you think of that now, ladies? I'll put it on here, so I mean it's see-through, but on, you know, in a tuck spot or something, that would be really pretty. Yeah, and again, you know, we need a little bit of me, so we'll just stick this there. Like that. Give this a good wipe and a blot. So this one's damp, so just making sure. Right, so wipe my mid marks off. Okay, so there we have that, and of course we get the pokey tool and we will, oops, forgot the glue. Little dab of glue there, just to take one of my pearls. Like that. Right, so there we have that. All right, how pretty is that? Now all that remains to be done is to turn this over, gauge the middle. My gauging's not good today either. I feel like I'm falling apart. Right, so we have got about 9.5 centimeters. Half of 9 is 4.5, and 4. So we're going to say about here. So I just need to. I'm pretty much guessing, giving it a sort of an idea. So I'm just going to take my big bite. I was about to make a hole through the acetate and just go through there like that. Now you can put a metal, let's put a metal one in. So let me just get up here without hopefully banging anything. And we'll have a silver one, so we'll do one of those. Of course you can put one of these in. You don't have to put one of those in, so lots of options. If I just push that back, put this through here like that, and put that on the spot, and there we have our eyelet, and that gives it a nice finish. Now again, you could stitch around here, which I probably would do at some point. It gives it a nice decorative finish, as I say. So out with a bag of stuff, and I'm going to be looking for something that's a little bit this one, yeah, I think I got this at Splattered Inky. Looks like her kind of stuff. Right, her wrapping. Now it's just a case of putting that through there and going like that. Where are the scissors? and cutting that off. Right, so how pretty is that? Isn't that so gorgeous? You've got a see-through tag now made from recycled packaging. Yeah, this side is like that, but unfortunately there's not much we can do. As I said, you could put a double side on and have a cover like that, and you'd have the same on that side and cut it to the same shape. The choice is your own. You could sandwich it between two as well. But I'm very happy with that. I think that's really pretty. Okay, now, so that's the tag side. I've just made some other suggestions for you. So let's just open this up here. On tags as well. Because if you don't have any packaging, but you've got some acetate itself, you could actually do some other things. So what I thought was, if you don't have these dyes, you could do some other things. So I've got a piece of acetate here. It's really narrow. So this one is about, let's see, it's 2 inches wide and 4.5 inches long, or 11 centimeters by 5. So if we put that down there, no, you probably can't see it. Now what I did was I cut 2 exactly the same. I'm now not going to use these Tim Holtz die cuts. I have just taken a couple of bits that are fussy cut flowers, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just arrange these somehow on the acetate and see if I can get myself a little design going here. With a little one in the front. So I think if I stick those down, let's try that. So that one was first. So you can do this with fussy cut and just plain acetate as well. And I'll show you quickly here how I do that. I've had some great fun messing about with acetate and really all sorts of packaging. So I hope this has given you an insight. It goes with the fact that January is a tight month and everybody's battling financially, doesn't it? So there we go. We've got the first one down. There we go. And then I had this little oney here. Let's put that one on. Okay. Oops. And then the very last one. See how quick and easy this is. And I think it's just something different. I mean, don't get me wrong. I say it's different. I haven't seen anybody do things. I've seen people do specimen cards and stuff. But I was just doing this and thought about this. So I might be wrong. Someone else might have done this. Who knows? But if they have, I'm sorry, I haven't seen. But this, like always, is just my take on things. So yeah, you know, I don't claim to want to have invented the wheel. Right, so we've got a little arrangement there, like that. I'll pick that up and show you. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece, stick it over and encapsulate it, so like a bit of a specimen card. And I like my little pegs just to keep it in the way I want it until I've finished stitching a bit. And I am going to quickly just stitch around. Oh, sorry ladies, banged your head there. Stop moving. Right, now I'm going to just stitch around this quickly. Take that one off. I'll just hold them together. Okay, move it around. You can take that peg off now because we've stitched aside. It's going to lay straight. Straight over. And then we're going to go straight up. And I just like a bit of a zigzag in the middle, so back to my straight stitching. Oops. And now just round. And of course the bobbin would end, wouldn't it? At the crucial time when I'm doing acetate. Oh dear, let's quickly sort that out. So sorry. Gonna just wind some cotton on here. I'm so sorry for this. That's just Sod's law. But I'll just do a little bit of cotton on here quickly so I can show you the end result. Oh my goodness, why do these things happen when we're filming? Honestly. I've never had that happen to me before. Right, so we've quickly redone that. And you know, I don't have the editing skills, so we just have to endure it all. So what I would suggest, if this does happen to you, so it's a good learning curve, cut the thread right down on the side that has happened. Yeah, and while I'm at it, I'll just cut these threads down too. Because you don't want a whole mess there when you go over that. So let's just start and try and line up those holes. That's it. Right, and now we're going to just turn like that. Right, so there we go. We've got there in the end. Okay, you'll be glad to know that I've got some other examples to show you, but I have done those. Okay, so here we go. Here we have, I hope you can see that. Let's put it on the paper again. I've actually created like a little tag with some fussy cut images in there. So I've just noticed that I've got some Sharpie on here and this isn't exactly straight. So I will just cut that off. And you can have a look around and see wherever it's not matching up exactly, like there. And that looks a bit better. And then make sure that you cut the edges off. So there we go. That's a lot better if you have a look. Now all that remains to do is put another hole in there, another thingy, eyelet, that's the word, and a ribbon in there. So that we can do anyway. So we've got the clear acetate with images like that. We've got the one we did with a cardboard frame from packaging. And then I've just done a couple of others. I've done a bit of a specimen card. So you can see with this one, let's put that on the paper. I think it's easier for you to see like this. Where I've stitched around it. I've just put in an eyelet and some ribbon there. So that's another one. And then the very last one I did was doing a bigger tag. I've put in a little mini tag and a little bit of a charm. And then I've used two sides again. The same principle as I did for this one. So these are two-sided, as is this. And sewn that around and put in those die cuts in there. So it's quite a collection of ideas using the acetate today, with a no frame or with a frame, or of course the example that I showed you with the window. So you know, you could stick that down and have that as well. All right, so that's everything with the acetate that I've managed to get through today. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope that this has inspired you, given you some ideas to go and use up some of that acetate you might have around, or maybe start collecting some of it if going forward. So thank you everybody. This has been a lovely morning of recording this today. I have loved working with these recycled items. Be on the lookout for the next video. I'm sticking to the Wednesday and the Saturday. Let me know, again, as I asked you before, which time suits you better. So just put there GMT time or EST time, Eastern Standard, so I know which area you're from, because I'd like to know which is the best time for you to that you like watching videos, so I can sort of get the happy medium there. Thank you all for your support and lovely comments, and please feel free to leave some in the comment section below. All right, lovely seeing you again, and I look forward to our next video where I will see you very soon. Bye bye now.